back to another episode of Breeze Talk. Our normal producer, Just Allen, is actually on vacation this week. So it's just myself, Jay Clay, and of course, everyone's favorite, Miss Janae Jasmine.
Don't say it like that. I get everyone's favorite, but I appreciate it. Thank you, Jay. You know.
Today we have a very special guest, four-time Emmy Award-winning audio engineer, Drumatik. Drew, how you feeling today?
I'm good. Thanks for the invite. Thanks for you guys having me. It's an honor to be a part of what you guys are doing, and I fully support the movement. So thank you for having me.
I appreciate that, and thanks for coming on. I checked out your 2020 EP, Red Origins, the other day. It's very dope, as I'm sure you know. I especially liked the song Low Fades, Old Age, and Road Rage.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like you were able to like intertwine a lot of like different, very unique sounds and make it like flow together on that track very effortlessly. So I just want to give you some props on that project. Red
Appreciate
Origins.
it, man. Thank you.
Available wherever y'all stream music from. So
absolutely. Run it up.
Yeah.
Man, I appreciate it. That's actually, it's funny because that was actually the first song that I did, and just kind of give you all a backstory on that EP. It kind of happened like spur of the moment. So my full-time, like you mentioned, four-time Emmy Award winning engineer. So my full-time gig, I've been blessed to work for the NFL for 12, 13 years now, and that's my full-time gig. I do audio for the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a playoff game, I think, in 2019. The end of 2019, I was stuck in Green Bay for it was like a snowstorm, and they flew us out early. So I was there for like 3 or 4 days just in a hotel room with nothing to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I'm about to drop a mixtape. I'm about to work on my mixtape. So that's what I did. I dropped the beat tape, just like did it in my hotel room. So if you a little later on in the EP, there's like a skit, and well, it's not really a skit. It actually happened. Like I had my recorder in the elevator, and like a lady, like she thought it was a taser. So she was like nervous when I got in, and but yeah, the whole album happened from me being in a hotel room. Just like it's gonna happen right now.
Yeah.
So
How long did you end up getting stuck like in the snowstorm?
Well, total, I think I might have been out there at least 2 days before, and then a couple days after the actual game. I think might have been a Saturday or Sunday game, so I might have been out there from like a Wednesday or Thursday to like a Sunday or Monday. So I was out there probably in total like 4 days, maybe something like that.
That's not too bad.
Yeah.
How cold was it?
Oh, it was freezing. I mean, Green Bay in the wintertime, like in the playoff game, it's always cold. It never fails.
Well, say, where are you from originally?
Originally? I'm from New Jersey. I'm from South Jersey, right outside of Philly, from a small town called Willingboro, New Jersey. So that's where I grew up. It's a cool little town, man. We got a lot of talent and a lot of musical talent. Just a lot of successful people come from Willingboro, New Jersey. Musicians, producers, lawyers, doctors. It's like, I mean, we're a very creative like little town too. So it's like a little Motown. It's really like a gem. Not too many people know about us, but yeah, a lot of people come from Willingboro.
Have you worked with any artists out of Willingboro, or I guess doesn't you have to be artists, just like anyone in your field at all?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you got like, this is a music based thing, right? So like there's that I've had the pleasure of work. I mean, a ton with a bunch of people. Like to be honest, I don't think I've like worked personally like hand in hand with anybody else from Willingboro. I mean, like we network and we talk, but there's people that I want to work with from Willingboro. Cardiac is one of them. Mike Zombie is another producer. My bro Adam Blackstone is super dope. There's so many. The list goes on and on.
Yeah.
Critical, he's a super dope producer. I'm just naming like music-based talent.
Yeah.
There's so many people. I don't want to leave anybody out, but I would love to work with everybody from the home team. Like honestly, I'm all about that. I'm all about collaboration and combining musical ideas too. So yeah, everybody from Willingboro is, from my experience and from what I know, they're OGs in my opinion. Super dope. I would love to work with any of them.
Absolutely. And where are you located right now? Are you in Atlanta?
No, I'm still in Jersey,
Oh,
actually.
okay, that's what's up. I don't know why I thought Atlanta.
Yeah, I'm still in Jersey. I'm like 10 minutes, not even 10 minutes. I'm right next door to where I'm
That's
from.
what's up.
Yeah. So I'm still home. Still, I mean, this is home for me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for the time being, and until I move to Atlanta or LA or something like that. But
Yeah.
no, right now, I'm home. I don't have any
Yeah.
plans of going anywhere anytime soon. So we'll see.
Are you a girl dad?
Oh yeah, girl dad all the way. So that's my 5-year-old back there. And my 1-year-old, almost 1-year-old, is trying to keep up with her. So
But have you, done the little tea parties, the little Disney princess, we haven't done all
uh, uh, no comment. No, so, I have, like, I mean, she's not really into like tea parties just yet. I might have done one maybe, but she's not like completely into it right now. She's more about the princesses and ponies right now. So
okay, that's cool.
yep.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like a whole new wave of Disney people. Like everything's about like Frozen and Mickey
Yeah.
Mouse Clubhouse
Yep.
versus like Lion King and all that other stuff.
Facts.
How early did you get into music production? And like, do you have any people that were maybe in your life that were more influential than others? Maybe artists you like, but so basically, when did you start working on music?
I've been involved and around music my whole life, pretty much. So I started playing instruments at a young age. My dad played the organ in church, and I used to sit like next to him at the organ. So like that's kind of how I got my ear. Like my, became musically inclined was just from sitting in church and listening to my dad play the keyboard, play the organ. So, and then I started playing soon after that. Like I got old enough and got big enough to reach the drum pedal. I started playing drums, you know what I mean? Probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 years old, just holding the beat in a pocket. And then so yeah, I just started playing. That's my earliest memories of me being around music. So after that, I started playing drums like in school. So my first instrument, like kind of learning music theory and notes, were with the drums. And I thought it was cool, but it was a lot different from like being in a band, because I was just playing the bass drum, like boom, boom. And I hated it. Made me hate playing the drums in school, like the formal education aspect of music. So I stopped playing the drums in school and I switched over to the trumpet. So I started playing trumpet in like third or fourth grade. And I still play trumpet. And then soon after I played trumpet, I like learned trumpet and started playing trumpet. I wanted to learn like keyboard. So I started training, like, I got a formal training in piano. And yeah, so I played drums, trumpet, piano, and then later on in life I started teaching myself guitar and bass. So I play guitar and bass too. And like for the majority of my productions, I play my own instrumentation. Just growing up around like some super dope musicians, like it inspired me to like learn as much as I can. And that way, like in my productions, I don't really need to, for the most times, I don't need to go outside of me to get things done. Like you can pretty much get anything done creatively, like with studio magic. So like I'll play a bass line, I'll play guitar, I'll play trumpet, I'll play keys, I'll play drums on my own stuff. So I really don't have to go outside and look for other musicians to bring in. Like, don't get me wrong, like I'm not an expert in any of those instruments.
Yeah.
Like I would say I have the most education in trumpet because I actually went to school for music and I studied trumpet. So yeah, like I mean, to make a long story longer, I play a bunch of different instruments, and I have a good knowledge of a lot of them. And,
yeah.
Well, if you need a percussionist, I'm a percussionist. I'm an
dope.
expert. So
dope.
Yes, I've been
expert.
Yes, expert. Yes, expert.
Nice. Talk heavy.
But yeah, if you'd ever need a percussionist, just go ahead and call me up and be like, oh, I need this, whatever, I got you.
Dope. That's good to know.
It actually makes so much sense though that you said you started with the bass drum and you were kind of just like got bored of it, but it almost makes a lot of sense that you would learn that first and like get the rhythm down, get like how songs are made down, and then you're moving on to like the melodic instruments like a trumpet or a guitar or anything like that. So that I feel like that would actually be very helpful, I guess, if you were someone that was starting to learn music.
Right. Oh yeah, for sure. It definitely gave me a great foundation, like rhythm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's, that kind of like is the glue, is the base for music, in my opinion, is
Yeah.
the rhythm, percussion, and bass. So it really gave me a good foundation, I think.
You ever
Is that how you
vocalize at
got
all?
your name? I'm sorry, John. Is that how you got your name, Drumatik?
Nah, so it's funny. That's a long story. And it's a little bit so no, that really has nothing to do with drums at all. So my boys like call me Drew, DRU. And so I forget how it kind of came together. But there's really no connection, no correlation. But yeah, so it really comes from my name. It really is Drew, and what I do, like a lot of it is like automatic. So it's like a combination of those two things. So
Yeah.
Okay. So like when you were like younger and stuff like that, like who did you listen to like as a kid? Like who was your like inspiration, or like, and then like who do you listen to now?
That's a loaded question. Growing up, I listened to everything. Like obviously having the church background, and then like my dad like had a crazy record collection when I was growing up. So I listened to like everything, everybody, like Big Daddy Kane's, like a lot of hip hop, like late 80s, early 90s hip hop stuff, and like a lot of 90s R&B. Like that's what my parents listened to, like Bobby Brown, like Heavy D, Big Daddy Kane, Jodeci, like that's all I grew up with. And so having that, and then like hip hop, gospel, R&B, like that's kind of like what I gravitated towards as I got older. And then as I just became to develop more of a musical palette, like I studied classically, classical trumpet in college. So I'm kind of like a mix of all those things. You know what I mean? Like I don't really like to define myself as one type of producer. But yeah, those are all of my influences. Like I have some jazz influences, I have some R&B, some hip hop, some rock, some soul, like a bunch of stuff. Like that's who I am. So yeah, I listen to, I would say the album that kind of changed the game for me was the Fugees, the score. I remember like I was probably in around third or fourth grade when that album came out, and I had a tape. I don't know who I got the tape from, but I got the tape, and I just played it back and kept rewinding and played it. But like like sonically, it was like a game changer for me. So that was probably like early on. I remember that being a very influential album for me.
Yeah.
And I listen to, I still listen to a good mix of music. I try to absorb and try to be aware of what's going on now. But I'm still like into 90s R&B, and real hip hop stuff. So
yeah. That's really cool. So you said the past 12 years you've been working a lot with the NFL film specifically. Firstly, this is the most important.
Yes.
Are you a Philadelphia Eagles fan?
Yeah.
Wow. John, we gotta go. We gotta go. I'm a Cowboys fan, so.
Oh, come on, yeah. Nah, we can't be. Yeah, this is over.
That's fine, because I can end this meeting real quick. You ain't said nothing.
At least you're not a Cowboys fan, though.
Wow, Jake Clay.
Who are you a fan?
Wait, Janae, you're a Cowboys fan? How do I not know this? I'm a Washington football.
We know this. We know this.
Oh, this is like NFC East. We just need a Giants fan here. It's an all-out war here.
So. I know, for real. I got the football, the signed football right behind me.
Right. Oh, dope. So yeah, so it's two questions. That Eagles fan, and then what else?
Let us know how you got involved with NFL films, like how that sort of fell into place.
So after I graduated college, back in, it's 2008. This was like during a crazy recession, and like I was looking for a job. I was in North Jersey, and I ended up having to move. At the time, I was an intern at Daddy's House Studios, P Diddy Studio, in New York, in Manhattan. And so I'm working there and I'm trying to figure things out because I really wanted to stay as close to New York City as possible. But without really getting paid to do that, I had to move back home. So I moved back to South Jersey. And I think one of my professors or somebody hit me up and was like, yo, you know, the NFL Films is not too far from where you live. Literally like 10 15 minutes from my front door from where I lived in Willingboro. And so I applied for the internship in the spring of 2000, probably more like the fall of 2008. So I graduated in June. I applied to the internship sometime in the fall, late summer, fall. And then I started as an intern in the spring of 09. So that's how I got my foot in the door. And I pretty much grinded, did everything I could do to keep myself around. Like I did the studio scene. Like I said, I worked in Diddy Studio. I worked in a studio in Ardmore called Milk Boy. So I worked for Milk Boy for 4 years. Like when I came home during the summer, I was working at Milk Boy. I was working at Diddy Studio when I was in college. Came back home, graduated, and started working for NFL Films. So that's how I got my
question. What college did you go to?
I went to William Patterson.
Okay.
Well, yeah, William Patterson University is, you know, a state school in Northern Jersey. So yeah, I started working for NFL Films after I graduated. Willie P is what we call it. But yeah, I was a music major with a concentration in audio recording. So that's what I got my degree in.
Okay, so what was like the path of your roles at NFL Films? So you said you started out, did you say like interning sort of, and then obviously worked your way up to a solid position there?
Yeah, man. So my path was kind of unorthodox. I started out as an intern, and then and so that off-season internship is probably the shortest internship. It's like 4 months or something like that because it's the off-season. There's not really a lot going on.
Yeah.
And so I did that, and then after my last thing that I had done before my internship was over was the draft, the 2009 draft, and I got a taste of like what location audio was like. It's called location audio. Basically, not really recording in the studio, but wherever you go, you're recording.
Okay.
Hence the term location. So yeah, I wanted to do location audio at that point. I'm like, yo, I knew I never wanted a 9 to 5. I knew I wasn't cut out for going to the same setting, the same office, 9 to 5, sitting behind a desk. I didn't see myself doing that. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I didn't see myself doing it. So I'm like, this would be a great way for me to kind of like travel and do audio at the same time. So I started working as a freelancer, like just a production assistant after that, and then kind of worked my way back over to audio, and I got hired as kind of like an assistant audio engineer once the season started again. So yeah, once the season started, the 2010 season, I was being paid per day. I was a per diem employee.
Okay.
So I went from being an intern to a freelance PA, and now in the fall, I'm now a per diem employee.
Wow.
So I was getting, a nice day rate. It was like, that's when I really started like making good money. I was getting like, $400 a day, and I was working 500, like 5 days a week.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Cause I went from not realizing that NFL Films was that close to me to like, making decent money after not having a job during a recession.
Yeah.
So it was great. I did that. And then after the season, not even, like, I'm jumping ahead of myself. So like I said, that was 2009, 2010. So in January 2010, I'm like, yo, I really want to go to football games, because I wasn't working at football games at that point. So I went to my boss and I'm like, yo, I really want to go, do location audio, and I'm willing to do it for nothing until I get good enough and you can pay me to do it. So I started working at football. My first game was in January of 2010. And that's when I started working at football games.
Okay.
So after that season, I went back to kind of like freelancing, and they offered me a position. After that was going into a lockout year. So after that season, I got hired full time in 2011.
Okay.
Can you give us like a rundown? Like, what's your like when you go in or like when you go to like a game? Like, what like how does it work?
So there's two main positions for what I do. One is location sound, sync sound. So one, I'm running around on a football field with a boom pole, and I'm capturing audio from players and coaches on the sideline, right on the bench, on the sideline area. And then the other is wires. So we put wires on players and coaches in game.
The
so like
mic'd up
anytime,
ones?
yeah, mic'd up. Yeah,
Bro,
yeah.
that's like my favorite part of the games, bro. I didn't even know this man was behind it all.
Yeah, I'm one of them. I'm one of them. We have it's four guys. I'm one of four staff guys in my company, and we have freelancers all around the country too. So I'm a small part of the puzzle, but yeah, I'm one of the staff guys. And mic'd up, people they do like the chopped up, mic'd up, and they replace the voiceovers and all that. Yeah, so they butcher what we do, but it's hilarious. It's hilarious though. Honestly.
I think my favorite one is like the Miami Dolphins player, and he's like, "Where's my mama?" He's like, "Can someone see my mom?"
Yeah.
The bad lip reading thing.
Bad lip reading. Yep. Yeah. So that's what I do. I do sync sound. I do a combination of sync sound. The majority of what I do is sync sound and wires.
Awesome.
Okay.
And then when the football season isn't going on, we do other shows like Hard Knocks on HBO, Amazon Prime, All or Nothing. We do football, the Football Life series. We do Peyton's Places. We do Hey Rookie. We do a bunch of different content for the NFL. So
when you have like game days, so do you get like, are you typically traveling each time? Obviously, maybe it's different with COVID, but like on a normal time, would you be like traveling like to, for example, Green Bay on a Sunday or a Saturday, or like, is there a lot of traveling involved with that?
Yeah, man, it's a good like basically I'm a professional traveler, and I do audio. So I travel during a normal year, COVID aside, I probably travel 180 to 200 days a year, like on the road. So I'm at football games every weekend. I go to Hard Knocks for 3 to 6 weeks, depending, and a lot of travel in between that, like combine, draft, training camps. Between all that, like people think after the football season, like what I do is done, but no, it's really just getting started after the season. Because it's a lot less predictable during the off season, because during the season you have a game every weekend, so you're traveling for a game. But I travel. The majority of what I do is on the road. I'm in a lot of hotels, a lot of planes, and doing audio.
Do you have to travel with your own equipment, or is it there, or like do they just have like a set equipment that like audio engineers use, or
no
like a hassle?
No, all the gear that I use all belongs to NFL Films. But it's I keep it throughout the year. Like I've had the same equipment basically. I mean, we've upgraded it, but for the most part, everything that are in my cases belong to me.
Okay.
So
but yeah, so that like walks around with you to help you like carry the stuff.
Oh, that's funny. You must be a cowboy. You must be a cowboy fan.
Wow, that's fired. Say less.
Oh no, I wish. Honestly, I wish it was that luxurious, and I wish that I wish I had an assistant to carry gear. But when I can, I try to ship it so I don't have to deal with it as much. But a lot of the times, I do have to like take it to the airport, put it on the plane, check it, and all of that stuff. So. But yeah,
that seems like a lot. Do you have any like funny stories or interactions that you've had that just maybe sort of stick out, or just some funny you remember while working for NFL Films?
Oh man, I got some stories. Most of them I probably can't even tell.
Now you have to. No.
I think one of the like most surreal moments I had was I don't even think I was staff at that point, but like, I grew up with like Brett Favre, Peyton Manning. I don't know what Tom Brady's still doing it, but like legends or whatever. And one of my first ever like jobs, this is right before I got hired. I was at a bed and breakfast, in the middle of middle of nowhere, Mississippi, in Hattiesburg. So we're doing an interview with Brett Favre. And it was like, kind of like tucked away in the middle of the woods, real secluded. Like we got to the location and it was all ours. It was me, the camera guy I worked with, and the director. And we basically had this place to ourselves. It was like there were 4-wheelers out there. There was a zip line out back. There was like ponies in the yard. I'm like, yo, what is this? Like it was all ours. Like we had it. It was all private. So like we're riding the quads. We're on the zip line. Like they had like a little private river in the back. So it was like crazy. And then Brett Favre and his wife pull up. And I'm like, I'm at this like remote location in the middle of nowhere. And like Brett Favre pulls up. And it's like, it was just nuts. It was like surreal to kind of like grow up and watch this legend playing. And now he's like chilling with us in backwoods Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have so many stories, bro. Like, I don't know, stories with like guys that I grew up watching, Ray Lewis, Brian Dawkins, like, yeah.
Did you ever boom for Ocho Cinco?
Yeah. It's a funny story. It's funny you asked that because my first time doing Hard Knocks was with the Miami Dolphins, and that was the year that Ocho Cinco was there.
Yeah.
And right before, like, I'm doing audio, right? So like, and it's all like none of it staged. This is all like it's like true, the definition of reality television. Like we're just reacting to what's going on. So I remember like one night I was getting back to my hotel room. It was like probably a 12 to 15 hour day, and I'm tired, and I'm getting like I had to get another. I went to the desk for some reason, and he's like, "Yo, like you're with the Hard Knocks crew?" The guy's like, "You're with the Hard Knocks crew?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Did you hear about Ocho Cinco? He just got arrested." I'm like, "What?" So literally, I text our director, and I'm like, "I think something just happened with Chad," and so we had to like react. And I remember that I had to be like, we were at the facility. And I'm waiting outside the coach's office, and Ocho Cinco came, and he's like, "Am I getting cut?" And I'm like, I'm probably like, I didn't know what to say. Like, I'm like, I don't know, because it's not like we know beforehand.
Yeah.
But I'm like, that was like, I felt terrible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's asking me before he goes into the coach's office. I'm like, I don't know, bro. Like this is not staged. Like this is all happening in real time. So.
I think I remember seeing that, like his conversation on Hard Knocks with his coach after that.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. That definitely made air. And right before that moment, he was asking me if he was going to get cut.
That's wild.
I don't know.
You're gonna have to go in there and find out.
Right.
Oh
right. Yeah. But that was one of the crazier moments. And then stories of just traveling and being on the road. It's just crazy. Road stories.
Yeah. Sure.
Well, we're gonna switch beats a little bit. Beats. So what type of like dolls do you use when you're like creating beats and things like that?
The majority of what currently, and I'm committed now. I think I'm so invested now in Ableton. I'm a big super Ableton head, and I've tried everything. I've done the majority of software and DAWs out there. I started, I did Reason, man, I did everything. Logic, Cubase at one point, and Machine. And now I've been on Ableton for probably 3 years.
Typically, like I feel like audio engineers, well, a lot of the ones that we've spoken to at least, like to just continue to use the same DAW that they first learned on. They're just like most comfortable. It sounds like you've just like used a ton of them and sort of can adapt to just like whatever is in front of you. You think that's true, kind of, for the most part?
Yeah, I would say so for the most part. Like I like to have a general knowledge of different things. At the end of the day, they're just tools, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, it's like, I've used this hammer and I've used that hammer. They both hit nails, you know what I mean? So I kind of look at it like that. It's just about how you use those tools. But yeah, I definitely think it would be accurate to say that I have a good knowledge of most of what's out there.
Okay, as an audio engineer, like, have you had any like specific artists that you're working with, or you're like on a constant basis, or is this like just work with anyone?
Oh, like big name artists, you mean? Like,
or
you know,
whoever, you know.
Yeah, just
um, uh, yeah, I don't know. I think right now at this point in my career, like, so I've been producing for a long time, right? So, you know, like I said, 2003, 2004, you know, growing up being a musician. But I held myself back for a lot of years. Like I didn't promote myself. Like people knew me as more as a musician and an engineer, as opposed to like me being like a producer. And being a musician for so long, like I kind of had to get over the fact that people would call me a beat maker. I hated the fact that people called me a beat maker. Like, oh, so like I was going to school for music and audio, and it's like, oh, so you make beats? And I'm like, I do, but that's not, that's I don't want that label.
that's
You know what I
not
mean?
the whole of me.
That's not the whole thing. Like, yeah, I do more than just make beats. So for a long time, I didn't even own the fact that I was a producer. You know what I mean? Because I didn't want to be associated with, oh, you're just a beat maker. So I kind of had to get over that and start like releasing my stuff. Like I had to. I think around 2017 is when I really started like promoting myself as a producer. So it's still like, you know, I've been doing it for a long time, but a lot of people are just now still finding out about what I am, like who I am and what I can do. So since that time, like since I started kind of promoting myself, I've, you know, made strides in my career. You know, I got some big things coming up. I've worked with, you know, local artists. I've worked with like national artists, and I've worked with artists internationally. Like, so just in that short amount of time, 3, almost 4 years now, I've gotten placements with VH1. I've gotten placements with ESPN. I have international placements with an artist over in Nigeria. I have some stuff coming out with an R&B artist by the name of a super dope like vocalist. His name is Jane Noble. I have a couple on his project coming up, and yeah, so like, you know, I've been, it's a grind. I feel like I'm in that stage right now where it's just like just to work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, obviously, I have a full-time job and I have a family, but like, you know, it's now or never. So yeah, I've worked with a bunch of, you know, local artists. We have a small, me and a couple producers, engineers, and writers I work with. We have a group called it's called The Cool Part. So like we'll like say if I make a track, I'll make a beat and I'll send it to a writer, and they'll write to it, record the reference to it, and send it back. And I have my boy who's also in the group, who's an engineer. He'll mix it. So like it's like a collaborative group effort because like really teamwork makes the dream work. So that's where I am now. I'm like, you know, trying to if it amounts in a placement, a check, or a relationship, I'm all for it. Any combination of any of those three things is cool with me.
So we've had a couple people on that are like actually like just audio engineers, not what you would identify as, but they're like actually just like work in a studio. They're audio engineer. They'll take walk-ins or people they've worked with before. And they all sort of emphasize the importance of like being able to build a chemistry with artists. Obviously, it's sometimes difficult if it's just a walk-in. You think that chemistry level is just between like sort of the vocalist and the audio engineer or like the producer?
Between the audio engineer and producer, oh my God, it's vital.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like a producer is only going to be as good as his engineer is. And I think like my situation was a little different because I was actually, you know, I learned how to be an engineer. I learned what being an engineer was. Like I learned about like proper levels and how to mix and, you know, EQ and what compressors do. Like I learned that stuff prior to me like calling myself a producer. But I think that relationship, like even now, like, you know, I'll like kind of rough mix it, but I'll still send it to my homie, that's the engineer, Ace. I'll send it to him, and you know, he'll mix it. I'm like, yo, this sounds amazing, like way better than what I could have done. Like I don't give it that much time, but it's really vital for a producer to know, at least know a good engineer that, you know, can keep your sound like intact and also, you know, mix it the right way.
Okay. Yeah. for this next question, people we've had on in the past have said people all the way from Will Smith, Russ, or Michael Jackson. So if you had to sort of, not to put you in a box, but if you had to some sort of model your like journey of your career or mindset as a creative after one specific person, like who went before you, who do you think that would be?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I don't know many people that have taken the same path as you, so it might be actually.
Yeah. I mean, he's a legend. Like, I'm not comparing myself to this person at all. But if I had to say, like, who he obviously, like, you know, I draw a lot of inspiration from him. Just like from the era I grew up in was Teddy Riley.
Mhm.
Like, he's a musician. I don't know if he has, you know, the engineering background, but I'm sure over the years, you know, he's accumulated, you know, his, you know, built up his credentials.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd probably say like somebody like a Teddy Riley is who I kind of would say, like, you know, he was a super dope musician. You know, he's an artist, he's a writer. Like, I really like again, I'm not comparing myself to him, but I would say kind of similar path as someone like Teddy Riley.
Okay.
Not necessarily comparing yourself, but hey, speak it into existence. You never know what could happen.
Oh, facts.
So
Facts.
you know, you're gonna be a legend too. You know.
Facts, big facts.
What do you have coming that the people can look out for in 2021? You got any upcoming projects or anything like that?
Yeah, man. Yeah. So I've actually got some good news coming, like some big news coming up. Got some things in the works. I'll be signing something very soon. So we'll see how that goes.
What to do with your last Instagram post or no? You don't have to say if you can't.
Yeah, I can't.
On it. All right.
Yes and no.
Okay.
Well, more my last Instagram post, like a lot of people, my DMs like were going crazy after that. But no, I was just there for a meeting. Met with a couple A&Rs about some potential projects. But I have some other things going as well. Like right now, like I told you, like I'm trying to spread my eggs in as many baskets as possible. So I have my hand on a little bit of everything. Like as it relates to like working with artists, as opposed to like TV placements, sync placements. So yeah, some potentially next week it'll be some pretty big news. You might have to do a follow-up.
Yeah, definitely. So we can you know, put it on here. That'll be dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the time the episode comes out, maybe the news will be dropped.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Great. Well, that's all I got. Again, I want to thank you for coming on Drumatik. It's been great. Everyone go follow this man. Check out his stuff at Drumatik on Instagram.
Yeah.
We'll put it in the video and everything. Janae Jasmine, your outro.
You already know what it is. Janae Jasmine right here. You know, in the beginning, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. But now since we kind of talked and everything, so don't call me about the drums since you're an Eagles fan.
We can put that aside. I'll forgive you.
I am unavailable. No. But yeah, no, definitely thank you so much for joining on with us. This was really dope, and definitely congrats on your Emmys and everything like that.
Yeah, check me out. I appreciate y'all for having me. Stay tuned. Got some good news. Got some things in the works. Yeah, I'm excited.
Absolutely, and thank again so much for coming on. And you have a good one, bro.
No problem. Nice